Inravio.com.
Hello again, everybody. This is Joe Larson. You're watching the 505 on Racing Show live from New York. Another Monday night of race talk. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Before we get started, just our prayers to the people that are being affected by this storm down in the Carolinas. I have some friends and family that live, I guess, in that area, we'll say. And so we just hope everything's okay. You know, you can never trust the news and the weather broadcasters, so sometimes they make it look worse than it is, and sometimes they kind of just ignore it and everything's all good. So if you're affected by that, you know, our thoughts and prayers are with you. But anyway, tonight's show, of course, we're going to start off tonight with the Lost Speedway segment. We have a racetrack that I found that kind of closed up, Beach Haven Speedway in Pennsylvania. Then we got the Louisville Motor Speedway in Louisville, Kentucky, and Roosevelt Raceway, believe it or not, on Long Island. We're going to talk about those. We're going to take a look at Las Vegas this weekend, where the Cup, Xfinity, and the Camping World Truck Series participated. We got a big race coming up in New Hampshire for the NASCAR Wheeling Modified Tour. We'll talk about, and also the K&M Pro Series will be there with them as well. We got some news out of NASCAR with Ryan Newman and Trevor Bayne. We're going to have a little discussion of what's going on there. And then we're also going to take a look at what is going on at the New London Waterford Speed Bowl up in Connecticut. Again, there are some issues that we'll talk about that when that time comes. But anyway, we're going to start right up. Lost Speedways. Beach Haven Speedway, located in Pennsylvania. It opened in the early 60s near an amusement park. And its views from the grandstand looked over at a vast lake. And the views, from what I read, were breathtaking. A small track, some say it was a fifth of a mile, others say it was smaller. It was right next to an amusement park. The amusement park used the facility to store their rides even, and they kind of worked together. But the track shut down because it was unprofitable. They couldn't make a living. And that's one of the things that a lot of people, when it comes to these local small racetracks, don't understand, is that the man or woman or business entity that owns these racetracks, they're there to make a living. You know, everybody says, oh, if I won the lottery, I'd buy a racetrack. And you know, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, the end of the season, you can't keep losing money. And you got to shut the doors. And it's a shame. A facility like this, from what I saw, you know, everything was overgrown, and you've seen the pictures yourselves. It couldn't be saved. It just couldn't be saved. And it closed up because of not a lack of interest. Maybe it was mismanagement. Who knows? We weren't there. But the bottom line is it just wasn't profitable. And the people who ran the facility said, it's time to go. You can't keep going to the bank. It's an expression I say to people all the time. I can't keep going to the bank because eventually it runs out. But another lost raceway. This next facility, I got to tell you, I had gone to Louisville Motor Speedway in Louisville, Kentucky. It's a 3/8 mile track located in Louisville, Kentucky. It opened in 1988 and hosted the Camping World Truck Series from 1995 to 1999. On Friday nights, the track hosted a sportsman division and figure-8 stock cars. On Saturday nights, the track hosted mini trucks, street stocks, and late models. The track was closed and demolished shortly after Kentucky Motor Speedway opened up. The property is now an industrial park. Now, I was at this facility, like I said, back in 1994 while working for UPS out of Louisville, Kentucky. And I was driving down the road, and to my left, it looked like a park. It was a beautiful parking lot. It looked gorgeous. And then I saw the sign that said Louisville Motor Speedway. So I made a U-turn, went back, pulled in, and I kind of looked around. The facility was park-like. It was pristine. I never saw a racetrack, and a 3/8 mile racetrack, that was that, I'm going to say, pretty. And I talked to some of the locals about the racetrack, and they loved it. It was great. But what happened is this. Kentucky Motor Speedway is built not too far from Louisville Motor Speedway. As a fan, where are you going to go? Now you can go see Cup cars. You can see Xfinity cars. You've seen the Camping World Truck Series. So you're going to go to a facility like Kansas, who's now they're going to promote the heck out of it, and the local track suffers. And I've said this over the years that when NASCAR started putting TV races on Saturday nights, I said it's going to kill the weekly guy. It's going to kill him. Because people are going to stay home and watch the race. They'd rather watch a Cup race on TV in the comforts of their own home than to schlep out, so to speak, to the local racetrack. NASCAR needs to take a look at that, because the weekly tracks are, in my opinion, the minor leagues of racing, like AAA ball and AA ball and A ball in baseball. It's the same with racing. If you have nothing to draw from, your product's going to dwindle, and maybe that's what's happening. So Louisville Motor Speedway, now an industrial park with commercial property, buildings. We lost another one. The next one is here on Long Island, and it's Roosevelt Raceway. Those of us who live here and are at least 25, 30 years old remember Roosevelt Raceway as a harness track, and most Long Islanders remembered Roosevelt Raceway, but as a harness track. And the track was just short of a half mile, and it was measured at 15/30 seconds of a mile. I found that trivial information a little weird, but it was that size. But following the Great Depression, George Washington Vanderbilt III and George Marshall and Eddie Rickenbacker, they raised money to build a racetrack. They needed a site. They needed a place for their dormant Vanderbilt Cup races, which had last run in 1916. Now, we're talking the mid-40s here. Actually, we're talking the mid-30s here. Now, land was leased and acquired by these gentlemen from Roosevelt Field Airport, which was the site of the famous Charles Lindbergh's Spirit of St. Louis transatlantic flight. The original layout of the track was twisty and bumpy, as you can see the turns that they had in the original layout in the photos. And this was not suited for these long wheel-based cars that were used to running on streets like Vanderbilt Motor Parkway, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, long straightaways, long turns, and they had to change that. So a new layout was made in 1937, and it was faster and had longer straightaways. Even with this layout, no GP cars, they called them, no GP car races were held. And afterwards, the track and the facility went to harness racing. And that happened in 1940. Later on, the facility was sold by then owner Madison Square Garden, and the facility was finally demolished in 2002. Now, when you think about that, just demolished. Here's not only auto racing history, but harness racing history. And what kind of killed it for the auto racing industry at Roosevelt Raceway was that they didn't have the right cars running there. They were so intent to keeping the Vanderbilt Cup races alive that they didn't think about, hey, we could do other things here, race other types of cars. And they did, and they tried. In fact, there's an Abbott and Costello movie where Lou Costello is driving a full-blown midget at Roosevelt Raceway. And I tried to find the name of that movie, and I just couldn't. But I remember watching it as a kid, and it was in the credits at the end. So 3 racetracks gone. Some of them gone a long time ago, some of them gone a short time ago. But as we say every week with these lost speedways, nobody's building new racetracks. Nobody. Support your local racetrack. And if we learn anything from the past, we can't sit there and complain about our local racetrack. We can't sit there and complain about how they do it, why they do it, when they do it. We just need to support it. And think about this. Think about the casual fan, and I mean the fan who goes out there once or twice a week, and they want to go to their local racetrack. It's, oh, let's go on social media and see what's running out there, because they don't think to go to the website, because you see this on social media all the time, and they say, you know, they look on and go, oh, anybody know what's running at the racetrack tonight? Go to their website. But anyway, social media is the answer, and there's so much negativity. Now what's going to happen is that guy or that woman is going to say, people are complaining. Let's do something else. And if enough people start doing something else, the racetrack will not be profitable. And just like Beach Haven Speedway, it'll be gone. And we can't have that, folks. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to talk about Las Vegas, the top 3 series, how they went there, and what's going on now that they're in the playoffs when we come back.
Hey, what's up? Oh, I was going to say what's up for some reason. Hey, we're Set It Up, and you're watching the Inravio TV network.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE, your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hi there, this is Buddy from Less Than Jake, and you are listening to Inravio TV. You're probably watching it too.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Las Vegas. Top 3 series, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, the Xfinity Series, and the Camping World Truck Series, all headed out to what was once called a desert stopover for GIs. And some man decided, let's put casinos there. And they named the town Las Vegas. That's a line out of The Godfather, if anybody was wondering. Anyway, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Brad Keselowski was the winner there, followed by Kyle Larson. Martin Truex Jr. was 3rd. Joey Logano 4th. Ryan Blaney was 5th. Eric Almirola was 6th. Kyle Busch 7th. Daniel Suarez was 8th. Ryan Newman 9th. And Paul Menard rounding out the top 10. The playoff picture looks like this now. Martin Truex Jr. is the leader, followed by Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski 3rd, Kevin Harvick 4th, Joe Logano 5th, Kurt Busch 6th, Ryan Newman 7th, Kyle Larson 8th, Eric Almirola 9th, Austin Dillon rounding out the top 10. And as we know, the get into the next round of the playoffs guaranteed is to win a race. If not, I believe it'll be the top 8, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll see how that goes. The Xfinity Series was there as well. Ross Chastain was the winner there, followed by Justin Allgaier, Cole Custer 3rd, Christopher Bell 4th, Elliott Sadler was 5th, Ryan Preece was 6th, Brandon Jones 7th, followed by Ryan Truex. Austin Cindric was 9th. Spencer Gallagher rounded out the top 10. Their playoff picture, they go with the top 12 there. And Justin Allgaier is 1st, Christopher Bell 2nd, Elliott Sadler 3rd, Cole Custer 4th, Tyler Reddick 5th, Ross Chastain 6th, Daniel Hemrick was 7th, Brandon Jones 8th, followed by Matt Tifft is 9th, Ryan Truex 10th, Austin Cindric 11th, and Ryan Reed is 12th. So that's, again, the same kind of setup when you're in until it narrows down to 4. The Camping World Truck Series was in Las Vegas. Grant Enfinger was the winner there, followed by Johnny Sauter. Justin Haley was 3rd, Ben Rhodes 4th, Matt Crafton 5th, Matt Cinder 6th, Ross Chastain 7th, Austin Theriault 8th, and Austin Wayne Self was 9th, and Chris Eggleston rounded out the top 10 there. Johnny Sauter is the port leader going into the playoffs, followed by Noah Gragson. Brett Moffitt 3rd, Justin Haley 4th, followed by Matt Crafton 5th, Grant Enfinger 6th, Ben Rose 7th, Stuart Friesen 8th, Matt Snyder 9th, and Todd Gilliland rounding out the top 10. Now this playoff thing that we talk about, I'm not a fan of it. I thought I would be. I gave it every opportunity. And no, I don't like it. I don't like it. I understand why it was put into place, and it was put into place to draw an interest into racing in September and October. Because what's on Sundays? Football, the NFL. So NASCAR says, wait, we got to make this exciting. We got to make people want to watch these and throw in the stage racing and throw in the playoffs, and maybe we'll get more people watching. It's not working. It's not working, and television ratings, TV ratings are down for NASCAR. On Sundays. Saturdays, if you watch a race, it's probably because your local track is rained out, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just not one of those things that if you watch, I watched maybe 20, 30 laps of the Xfinity race on Saturday, and it was empty. And when I say it was empty, it was empty. That's not to say tickets weren't bought, because what do these facilities make you do? They make you buy a package. When they have the top 3 there, they want you to pick 2 races. One has to be a cup race. So you're either going to go Saturday, Sunday, or you're going to go Friday night or Friday afternoon to the race, to the trucks, Sunday to the cup, do something else Saturday, because you don't want to lose your tickets. But it's not like it was years ago. I know when I tried to get tickets to the Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee, I was waitlisted. When I finally got my tickets, and I had good seats, and it was awesome. It was awesome. And then one year I needed to sell them. I couldn't give them away, and the place was empty. So So what do we do? How do we fix this? How do we create an interest? We need to put a better product on the racetrack. And when I say a better product, nobody wants to go to a super speedway or a cup event or Xfinity or even a truck race where it's a parade of humming engines, a parade with no music. There's no rubbing, there's no pushing, there's no shoving. It's everybody's in a line, and now with all these teams that have 2, 3, and even some 4-car teams, they kind of take turns. All right, listen, and I'm not saying this for a fact, but this is what I imagine. The team owner, the team manager, he has a couple of cars running on the front. All right, we need to lead a lap here. So why don't number 105 back off, and 107 you pull ahead, so and lead that lap, and then switch back, because that leading the lap is points. And then you come down to the stages, the stage racing, because think about when you watched the race a while back. They raced the first 10 laps maybe for position. Caution comes out, or scheduled caution, you pit, you got to go and get tires and fuel, and everybody comes in, and there's a big race on pit road, because there's a speed limit, and I understand why there's a speed limit. I've been hit on pit road a couple of times when I worked for NASCAR, but now they make it that you officiate pit road from a trailer in the parking lot and watch it on TV, which kind of takes the human element out of it. And that is, they race for a few laps to get back in the line, and wait, there's like 10 to go for this segment, and so now we got to race some more, and then we got to race at the end. And no, if I pay hundreds of dollars to go to a race, I want to see a race. I want to see, if it's a 200-lap race like at Daytona, I want to see 200 laps of racing. If it's a Bristol and it's 500 laps, I want to see 500 laps of racing. I want the Darlington stripe to be on these cars. And for those who don't know what that is, Darlington, if your car's running good and you come off the corner, you have to brush the wall in the straightaway. If you don't, you're not running hard enough. They took that away. Why? Because the sponsors are saying, hey, my logo is rubbed off the car. Okay, so we'll film the race from the infield. But they can't do that now because they don't want to see the empty grandstands. It's 22 figure eight saying it's interesting to see how the road course at Charlotte is going to be for entertainment. And I'll tell you what, I'm not a fan of road courses. However, the first road course race that I saw personally was Lime Rock with the K&N Pro Series. And I had worked Stafford Motor Speedway Friday night, and NASCAR called me and said they were shorthanded and they needed somebody to head up to Lime Rock. Now, there's a joke, and then it turned out it wasn't a joke. And as my son Brian would say, behind every joke, there's a little seriousness. Anybody I asked, how do you get to Lime Rock from Stafford? They said, you can't get there from here. My choice was to go all the way down to 995, go all the way back west, go up Route 8 through some mountains till I found it, or to go all the way up to Massachusetts, take the Mass Pike, go up to Route 8 and come down. Anyway, my job for this race, because there's so many turns and the facility is so large, my job was to go in a TV trailer. The trailer where the director is watching the race and all the cameras. There was one big screen TV at the end of the trailer. I'm in like this reclining chair. It's 95 degrees. It was hot as the dickens at Stafford all day Friday. I drove all the way to Lime Rock with little or no sleep for Saturday, and I'm tired. The sweat was pouring off me outside. Now I'm in. Now imagine this. Imagine this, especially you guys that have recliners. You're sitting in the recliner, the air conditioning's going, you're watching a race on TV, and you're this, and you're this. Now, my job wasn't to watch the big TV. My job was to watch the 4, 8, 9, 10, 12 smaller TVs that were had cameras positioned in all the turns. I was supposed to watch for cars that spun because you couldn't see that from the tower, debris, dirt, if somebody got on the dirt and kicked dirt up. And I had to get on the radio. Tower, there's Joe in the TV booth. I got debris in turn 10. And a caution would come out. Maybe it would be just for that area, but I'm falling asleep, and it's like, wow. Then I worked Watkins Glen. I was in the spotter stand at what they call a pit stop. I didn't even know how to get there. All I know is I looked at the assignment sheet, said bus stop. I thought I was being sent home. Go to the bus stop. Here's your bus ticket, go home. You know, but it wasn't. And that was my job for this entire race. I saw every minute and a half the cars go by and nothing. You could hear them, and maybe in the far distance you could see them coming over a hill. But I'm hoping the Charlotte road course isn't that way. I really hope it's not. And it'll see. We'll see. I'm trying to be optimistic, you know, because they need something different. They really do. NASCAR needs to change how it does this. I think there needs to be more mile tracks or less, and less 200 lappers on these 2 mile, 2.5 mile super speedways. Just an opinion. You make the product worth watching. Really, you really need to do that. And I want to thank everybody who's in social media, and even my old good buddies in the chat room. 22 Figure 8, Winnie, Jay Slice, they never miss a show. Well, I shouldn't say that. 22 Figure 8 misses races when the Rangers are in the playoffs. Jay Slice misses shows when he has baseball. And Winnie misses shows because only if she's like half dead. And I don't mean it in a bad way. So I want to thank you. We got our regulars. JV's here in the chat room. Hope Big John's doing good. Everybody, we got some good people in the chat room, and I want to thank everybody. But it's one of those things with the scheduling. I'm hoping the NASCAR schedule for 2019, although it's been announced in most cases, is a little bit better than the racing is better than what it has been. And 2020, let's look at some more short tracks. We don't need these cookie cutter 1.5 mile motor speedways, as they're all called. We don't need that. Let's go back to Richmond. Let's go back to the tracks like Rockingham. Let's go back to the tracks that are like North Wilkesboro. Let's put the race back in the driver's hands, and let's let the racers race. Let them push, let them bang, let them shove. I'm not saying wreck anybody. You know, we're not in racing to wreck. And those my Facebook friends, I posted a video today that wasn't my video, that somebody else posted on YouTube a few years back. You know, I know what it's like to wreck. And trust me, 22 Figure 8 will tell you, I wrecked more times than we care to remember. But I had a bad one. And I'm not looking for anybody to get hurt. But make it exciting. Let these guys come. Let them. I'd like to see arms and elbows going through the turns. I don't want to see a guy who goes down the straight. You watch the in-car cameras. He's going down the straightaway. Turns. Going down the straightaway. Turns. It's boring. I can remember years ago watching Rusty Wallace at Bristol. They had a camera on his feet. His feet were moving. He was like he was doing a tap dance in his race car. Or you go watch a road course race, you know, like a Watkins Glen, and you see them going through the shifting and all of that kind of good stuff. Let's go back racing. Go back racing, because we need that. That's what's going to save our sport. Anyway, we're going to take a break now. When we come back, we're going to talk about what's going on this weekend for the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour and the K&N Pro Series East up to New Hampshire Motor Speedway when we come back.
Hi, I'm Remington.
I'm Emerson.
And I'm Sebastian.
We're Palais Royale, and you're watching Inravio TV.
There we go.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
Hey, this is Chris Less Jake, and if Inravio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE, your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hi, this is Mike Jarecki from My Race News, and you're watching the Inravio TV network.
I love when I scroll through it and see what people are talking about. And I got strict orders. I'm not allowed to ask about JV's tire cart. It's a long story. And apparently we need like a 3-hour show. John, I'll tell you, if I go to New Hampshire this weekend, you know nothing's going to happen to the tire cart. You know that, right? Just understand that. Anyway. I love you, buddy. Anyway, this weekend, NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour will be at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway for a 250-lap event. 250 laps. Now, I'll tell you what, most of the time, the modifieds, when they go to New Hampshire, they run 100 laps. And I know I talked about that a little while ago, but 100 laps at New Hampshire, that's a lot of laps. Now, yeah, they've gone 200 at Riverhead, which is only, a quarter mile. They've gone 150 at Thompson up in Connecticut and Stafford up in Connecticut. They're both 5/8. So when you go on 100, laps at a track like that, it's just under 60 miles. And in Riverhead, you go 200 laps, it's 50 miles. You're going 250 miles. Now, my question is this. Can the drivers withstand that time in a hot race car? Can the equipment sustain 250 laps? These guys in the motor area have the best of the best. I'm sure the spec motor is going to hold up. I'm sure the other engine builders that are still putting together motors on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, I'm sure that they'll make it happen. But it's late in the season. And not that it's the bottom of the pack, but from mid-pack back, these guys aren't freshening up motors after 4 races. These guys ain't changing their rear end gears or their axles and stuff. My concern is the wear and tear on the first 3 quarters of the season what 250 laps and New Hampshire Motor Speedway is going to do. Awesome idea. New Hampshire Motor Speedway lost that second Cup date. So why not utilize with the modifieds, and then the K&N Pro Series East doing 125 laps. They've done that before. And I've worked pit road on some of those races. And I only hope that they put fannies in the seats, like Mark Arute, the owner of Stafford Motor Speed, would say. He used to say, cars in the garage mean fannies in the seats. So you take the 30 or so modifieds and the 20 or so K&N Pro Series East cars, and I believe there's the ACT Series is going to be there as well, the American Canadian Tire Tour. They can get a decent crowd for this. This will become the modified tours like biggest race of the year for years to come. Just like the Thompson 300, which all of a sudden they stopped having at the Thompson Motorsports Park in Thompson, Connecticut. The Thompson 300, that was a 150-mile race, 165, 170. That was a good event. For whatever reason, they stopped doing it. It just stopped doing it. But when you think about what's going to happen, I'm trying to finagle to get up to that. And JV, I'll let you know if we're coming, but I'm trying to get up to that one. I want to see that. You know, it's different. I'll be going as a fan. I'm not there as an official. I'm not there as part of a team. I'm going as a fan. I don't go to too many races as a fan. You know, sometimes I go to the races. I'm there as Inravio. I'd like to sit and get a fan's eye view of this event. It should be interesting. Should be interesting. And I'll tell you what. Basically, Justin Bonsignore has to just have another decent run, and he'll have his first championship. His first championship. And to say I knew this guy when he was a little kid, coming on my first show, back I think it was like 2001, Speed Racing Radio Network, where we did it live in an AM studio, radio studio, and we broadcast it over the internet. And I can remember Justin came on, and Eric Hershey, and my daughter Jessica, and with the headphones and the big microphones. And, you know, I've been watching Justin race a long, long time, since he was single-digit age. But you know, I wish him well. I really do. I wish him, yeah. Anyway. What do we got here? Oh, yes. Oh, a lot of people saying, hey, hi, and all that kind of good stuff. Of course Justin will win. Oh, if I could tell you what's on the mirror. But anyway, Brad Keselowski, he won Vegas, as we spoke earlier. He won this past weekend at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and it was Team Penske's 500th win. Roger Penske has been involved with racing most of his life, and from his early beginnings of racing, his first win as a team owner was the 1966 Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona. And yesterday, his win at Las Vegas Motor Speedway is 500. That's big. Penske has has supported his teams in racing for over 52 years. So in 1966, Roger Penske took a car to Rolex 24 Hours, and he's been in this sport ever since. And I tease people when they, you know, what's the attraction? Why? What makes you do this? And I take people to the races for the first time. They either love it or they hate it. And those of us who've been doing this, and I've been going to races for 53 years. Didn't go every week, didn't go often, but I went to my first race in 1965 with my grandfather to the Freeport Municipal Stadium on Long Island, which long since is closed. And we switched over to ice up in the 70s. And then I started doing what I called racing. Other people might disagree. In the late 70s, I believe 78, I started racing at ISO Speedway. 78, 79, through on and off throughout the 80s. 89, I came back full time, and now we're at Riverhead Raceway. I did a race at the West Hampton racetrack. It was a double oval race. That was back in the 70s because they needed people, they needed cars. And it's been fun, and I've gone to Wall and raced a modern stock there once and got 17 tickets on the way home. That I'm not even going to say. And and I raced TQs at Wall Stadium in New Jersey. But I've had fun, and I was hooked day one. I was hooked day one. I know some people I've taken, and they're like, they could take it or leave it. But racing is something that we do, and not every night's a good night. Not every night's a good night. Not every night are you going to walk out of there happy. And, you know, and I wish I had a nickel for every time a driver or an owner said, that's it, I'm done, it's my last week, not coming back. And then the first guy's online the following week. And yes, 22 figure eight, that was the show with the late Ricky Miller and Jeff Bressler. We had a good time with that show, we really did. And Mark Garrow from MRN, he did like a 3-minute segment, so it was all good, all good. You guys are cracking me up. But anyway, hey, if anybody knows, I want to thank, on behalf of whomever, my good buddy Walter Johnson, who is my biggest fan, my biggest supporter, my biggest critic, and one of my closest friends, as we all know, passed away. He's buried in the National Cemetery in Calverton, Long Island. Somebody put a Dale Earnhardt shirt over his tombstone. Some people might think that that's not good. I think it's awesome. So whoever did that, you don't have to step forward. I want to thank you, and I think his daughter Kathy is watching, and I'm sure she thanks you too. I know I was able to get some of Walter's Dale Earnhardt memorabilia, and I wasn't even a Dale Earnhardt fan, but Dale Earnhardt was one hell of a driver, let me tell you. But anyway, when you look at those things, it's things like that. It's the passion. That's the passion. That's what we do, and we're into it. And you know, and it's funny. When something bad would happen, and we'd be in the shop talking about it during the week, and whether it was my crew or I was on the crew, and we'd all be sitting there with these sad faces, I would say, guys, this is the business we chose. Let's make the best of it. Let's make the best of it. And when you look back, it's I don't know. The good memories always push the bad ones out of the way. Anyway, we're going to take a break, and we come back. We're going to talk about what's going on at the London Waterford Speed Bowl in Connecticut, on the Connecticut shore, and just some race talk when we come back.
Hey guys, this is Jibs from Ocean's 8 Alaska, and you're watching Inravio TV Network.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hey, I'm Raul Panther.
And I'm Commander B. Hawkins.
And I'm Russ Weller. We're some of the proto men. If we see you without this bracelet, you get punched in the But if you have this bracelet from Inravio.com, you can win $100.
Put one of these on, or else.
What's up, guys? This is Assuming We Survive, and you're watching Inravio TV Network.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Hey, before we go into some of the New London Waterford Speedball stuff, Ryan Newman posted on his Facebook page he will not be returning to Richard Childress Racing in 2019. He spoke highly of the team, its ownership, and personally thanked Richard Childress for the opportunity and support over the last 5 seasons. And he added his plans for 2019 have not been finalized. Ryan Newman is one of those guys that I met on the tech line when he was driving a modified at New Hampshire. And it seemed like anytime I saw him at a racetrack, we connected, we'd sit, we'd talk racing, we'd have some fun. And, you know, and Ryan Newman is my daughter Jessica's one of her favorite, if not her favorite race car driver in like the world. And I would always tease her and do selfies with Ryan or have somebody take a picture and they say, Jessica, look who I'm with. So there's some stuff going on. There's some seats that are going to be open in 2019. But you know what kind of scares me is, you know, it's become, the racing part of it has become a series of young kids. And it's like now, it's like if you're 30 and you're in the Cup Series, you're kind of like put out the pasture. And that's because these kids start racing go-karts at 5, bandoleros, then legend cars, and then a street stock maybe. Then they're put into something else, and then they go into this development program with these teams. And whether it's with NASCAR directly or with Hendrick or Roush or Childress, and here they are. And when I watch these races, I look at them and go, these guys, I got shoes older than these guys. But now, you know, it used to be just the opposite. You had to work your way up. You had to start it. There were no go-karts back in the 40s and the 50s. You learned how to drive on a tractor in the farm. And then you started racing at your local racetrack, and you built them yourself. You built them yourself. Every once in a while I post on social media. We built it, we raced it, we wrecked it, we put it back together, repeat. Because that's what we did. And I got real good at body panels because I was tearing them off all the time. Wasn't good at motors, I never blew one up. All I knew is where the motor mounts were and how to hook up the hook up the bell housing and where the radiator hoses went. But that's all. So I'm sure Ryan Newman is going to land a seat somewhere. And I just got a little thing about something about glasses. I don't know what I did. But anyway, Trevor Bayne, Jack Roush announced Trevor Bayne will not return to Roush Fenway Racing in 2019. Roush told Sirius XM NASCAR Radio he is looking at other drivers. Whoa. Now, I knew something was up there because Trevor Bayne was sharing the duties of racing the number 6 car. And again, there's some good guys that are out there. And something must have happened because it wasn't a big announcement. It was just like a casual discussion that Trevor Bayne won't be back in 2019. Don't want to make a big deal out of it. Now, I don't know. And you know, the little banter between Jay Sykes and Tony Severa, most of these kids wouldn't know a spark plug from a drain plug. And I'm glad, you know, that brought back a memory. I'm at Bristol with the modifieds. And this group of new modified tour officials comes in. And they're kids. They're kids. And I'm not saying they're kids because they're 40. I'm saying they're kids because they're 20. And I have grandchildren their age. And one guy has to shadow me. Now that's not a good thing because, you know, the teams want to feed me and everybody, you know, wants to shake my hand and talk to me. But he's shadowing me. I'm doing some tech stuff. And they told him, just watch me. And even during the race, I'm on pit road, and they told him to stand on the other side of the wall and just watch me. So throughout the day, I said to this kid, I said, so, you involved with racing during your lifetime? No. You're a fan? You go to the races? No. Oh, how'd you become an official? Well, you know, I thought it would be cool, and I saw this thing online, so I sent in, and they hired me. Wow. I went, very nice. Now, you never know who these people are, you know. It could be like Brian Francis, like godson or something, so you don't want to say anything negative. And then I couldn't resist. The kid says, and he called me sir. He goes, you know what, sir? If you turned this car upside down, I couldn't point out the front or the back. I says, don't say that too loud, because these teams will eat you up. And over time, that young official or that young group of officials were trained in the NASCAR way. I don't mean this disrespect, but they drank the Kool-Aid, and they're perfect little wooden soldiers. They don't ask questions. They're told what to do, and they do it. Now, a couple of years later, when I left NASCAR, I had to bring our car over the scales, and I think it was at Thompson, and they're doing the wheelbase. Now, the wheelbase tool is real simple. There's a guy on each end. You put it into the rim, minimum 105, maximum 108 with a 2-inch variance, left side, right side. I know it's 107 3/4. I know it. I just know it. Anybody who's owned a race car, worked on a race car, driven a race car, you know your numbers. Oh, no good, too long. I said impossible. All right, we'll do it again. Nope, too long. So somebody watching says, maybe there's a bent rim. Roll the car. Put it in. Too long. I'm like, no. Now I get out of the car. Now, anybody who's climbed in and out of a modified and knows me, I get in easy. Sometimes I need to be cut out. Not really, but I have trouble getting out. So I get out, and I'm watching. The guy in the back has the piece that goes in the middle of the wheel and in the rim. The other guy has it outside the rim. So I tap him on the shoulder. I said, you think that's the right way to do this? Yep. I said, is an angle from point A to point B longer than a straight line from point A to point B? And he looks at me. I said, why don't you both have it in the same spot? You'll get a straight line. So they, oh, really? I said, I probably teched 500 cars with this tool. I was the first one to use it. So let's do that. Lo and behold, it's 107 3/4. Imagine that. Anyway, but that's one of the things that's happening in the sport too. The kids coming up today, with no disrespect to the kids, it's not about their talent. It's about how much money daddy has, what daddy's company has to get them racing. And it's happening the same way as officials, because you know, somebody is a friend of somebody who works in NASCAR, and they want to know where their kid is on a weekend. So they send them to NASCAR, make them officials. They don't know a lot of stuff. They don't know a lot of stuff. As the late Walt Edsel used to say to me, the man I replaced at Riverhead after he was killed in a racing accident, we were interviewing officials, and the guy came in, he had all the right answers. He leaves, I say, hey, Walt, what do you think? Think that's a good guy? He goes, did you see his hands? And Walter had this way of talking, Walter Edsel. He had this way of talking. And I said, no, he goes, there wasn't any grease under his fingernails. He goes, what does he know about racing? Anyway, the stories that make you laugh. New London, Waterford Speed Bowl. It's been plagued by all kinds of problems over the years, mismanagement, taxes not being paid, losing parking lot space for back taxes, purse checks bouncing, some teams not getting paid. Okay, tonight you won 200, so you got a credit, so when you come next week, we'll apply that to your pit fees. A lot of problems. Well, Race Day, Connecticut posted on Facebook, concerned teams at the New London Waterford Speed Bowl in Connecticut are scratching their heads regarding a post or an announcement that was made on the Facebook page of the New London Waterford Speed Bowl and their website. There was an update to the Facebook page, and it stated, due to unforeseen circumstances, the September 15th races at the Speed Bowl have been canceled. The same message was posted on their website as well. Attempts to reach George Whitney, the track general manager, and leaser of the track from owner Bruce Berner, who was arrested for whatever he did, we're not getting into that, have gone unanswered. Something went down there, and it's a shame. It's a nice facility, there's good racing there, and it's one of those tracks where it's small enough to be a nice short track, but it's big enough to go 3 wide and go racing. And I have some fond memories of the New London Waterford Speed Bowl. And we had a good time there. Anyway, Cookie Visconti's watching. Whoa, look at that. He's still in the hospital. Hopefully he goes home. And he's got some issues, some health issues going on. But I talk to him every now and then. So Cookie was a guest on our show a while back, and as soon as he gets on his feet, so to speak, we're going to carry him into the studio and place him right next to us. We'll have a fun time with him. But anyway, what do we got? We had a couple of minutes left. I just wanted to, a little memory. It was 1 year ago today, yesterday, that my good buddy Ted Christopher lost his life on a plane ride to come race at Riverhead. So it's hard to believe it's a year already. It's hard to believe. And anybody who ever met Teddy, I hope you met him in the pit area or at the ice cream parlor, because he's a great guy. If you met him because he was behind you on a racetrack, I offer my condolences. He had the 3-tap rule. And I'm not thinking he's using that up at Heaven Motor Speedway, but it's a year. And Teddy was my buddy. And we miss him. This tour race that was held recently at Riverhead Raceway was not the same without Teddy. And then, we talked and joked and we shared some Teddy stories. And the night that he hit the pace car, the car was totaled. It was from Buzz Chu's Chevrolet, and Buzz Chu was at the racetrack and watched his car that he had supplied as a pace car for the brothers get destroyed. So, Teddy, we miss you, buddy. And if you see my friend WJ walking around, tell him you can hang out at your hauler, because I'm sure he's looking for a place to hang out. Anyway, wherever your endeavors are going to bring you this week, whether you go up to New Hampshire for the big modified race, or you go to the next cup race, or you go to your local racetrack, or wherever you go to the beach, go upstate, wherever your endeavors may bring you. Please be safe. Please be careful. Give somebody a hug. Tell them you love them. God bless you all, and we'll see you all next week. Good night, everybody.
Inravio.com.